All right. Hello, my beautiful people. I welcome you back to my channel once again. The morning after a complete performance from Chelsea makes me very enthusiastic. And it is this enthusiasm that has brought me early this morning to your doorsteps. And I am here to present to you, as usual, on every Monday, the report on the performance of our loan players out there. I am going to give you each of them how they fared over the weekend. Some of them actually played 2 games last week. I am going to bring you all that. Those of them who featured, those of them who didn't, those of them who are on injury list. I am going to give you every single thing that you need to know. One of our players, loan players, Estevao Willian, I can tell you is actually losing grounds on the title race. They played their match on Wednesday against Botafogo, and Botafogo is the one leading the log. They were both on 70 points, and Botafogo defeated them, and so Botafogo is now ahead of them with 3 points. They only have 2 games remaining for the season. It is my hope and our hope that Palmeiras will be able to overturn that deficit and bring home the league. All right. So, what can we talk about? Nicholas Jackson. I actually want to say something small about Nicholas Jackson. I think that from the way Nicholas Jackson is performing, Nicholas Jackson is going to save Chelsea a lot of millions, because I think he's performing beyond expectation. He has totally changed, and Chelsea shouldn't be looking at any big money signing this January. And so because of that, I think we are going to save money. I think the plans of Chelsea has to change actually concerning the signing of a striker. I told you at the end of the summer, at the end of the transfer window, that the goals of Nicholas Jackson were seriously at work. And it is obvious now that Nicholas Jackson is proving his worth at Chelsea. All right. So we go straight to the report on the performance of our loan players. And the first player I usually report on is Lesley Ugochukwu. Now, Lesley Ugochukwu, I can tell you, news making rounds from the UK, from the Premier League, are indicating that Lesley Ugochukwu is on some kind of protest mission. And Ugochukwu is quite unhappy, and so he has removed all traces of Southampton from his social media posts. I think that he's unhappy because he's not getting the minutes he thought to get, and so this is making him unhappy. And I think that if it is true that he actually removed all traces of Southampton from his post, I think that is not the right thing to do, because you don't know tomorrow. Some of your behavior today might affect you in the future. And so I don't think it was right for Ugochukwu to do that. Maybe it was a mistake, and we'll pardon him for that. But if that is so, then it means that the club will have to recall Lesley Ugochukwu during the January transfer window and maybe find him another club. And so Lesley Ugochukwu's club, Southampton, played against Brighton. It was on Friday, and they drew that match by 1-1. Ugochukwu was not in the squad. He was not involved at all in that game. All right. Meanwhile, he has been getting some minutes. I think that he's been getting minutes even more than some of the loan players. someone like Ronnie Starter. He's only had 18 minutes so far during his transfer window, and in most cases, he's not even in the squad when they are going to play a match. Then we also have Mike Pendes. He's only got, I think, 90 minutes. 90 minutes so far this season, and that was in one of the cup competitions. So I think that Ugochukwu has to be patient and see what the future holds. All right, so that is Ugochukwu. He was not involved in their game. All right, the next person on the list is Alfie Gilchrist. Now, their team played 2 games during the week. They won both of them. The first one was on Tuesday, the 26th. Gilchrist was on the subs bench. He was an unused sub in that game, and they won that game by 3-0 against Oxford United. He was an unused sub. Then on Friday, 29th, they played another game against Sunderland, and they won that game by 1-0. Played the full 90 minutes of that game. He made 58 touches in the game. 4 clearances he made. He also contributed 1 key pass in that game. Ground duels, he attempted 8 and succeeded in 6. Now, his pass accuracy in that game was 93%, and he had a 7.6 match rating in the game. So I think that was a good performance for him. The next person on the list is Dylan Williams. Now, Dylan Williams, their team also played 2 games. The first one was on Tuesday, and the second one was yesterday. All right, they lost the first one against Carlton. They lost by 1-0 at home. Williams was not involved. He was an unused sub. He was an unused sub in that game. In fact, in that game, Barton had a red card. A red card was issued to Charlie Webster in the 68th minute, and that red card was for violent conduct. And so they played a 10-11 from the 68th minute, and they lost that game by 1-0. Then yesterday, Sunday, they played a draw with Tamworth. They played a 1-1 draw with Tamworth, and Williams played 10 minutes of that game. 10 minutes of that game. Now, he came in the 80th minute. That game was a cup competition game, and they lost in penalties. When they went to penalties, they lost on penalties. They lost by 3-4 on penalties in that game after the draw. After the draw, the game went to extra time, and then after extra time, it went to penalties. And they lost by 3-4 on penalties. So that is Dylan Williams in the FA Cup competition. All right. Then the next person on the list is Andre Santos, who is at Strasbourg. We have 3 players at Strasbourg, and Santos is the first person. They lost their game against Brest by 3-1. They went away to Brest, and they lost that game by 3-1. Santos played the full 90 minutes of that game. He had 86% pass accuracy in the game. Then he made 1 clearance, he made 1 key pass, and he had 1 shot on target. Now, he also created 1 big chance in that game. Ground duels, he attempted 7 and succeeded in 5. Then his game rating was 7.2 in that game. 60 touches he also made in that game. Then I can also tell you that coincidentally, Strasbourg has played 13 games. They are 13th on the log, and they have 13 points. They have 13 points. So 13 games, 13 points, and then 13th on the log. They have a goal difference of -5. That is Strasbourg. All right. Then the next person we go to is Aaron Alsemino. I told you the other day that Aaron Alsemino is injured, and he's out for a month. He has a muscular tear. Their team played against Valais Sarsfield, and they lost that game by 3-4 on Thursday. Then today's dawn actually, They also played against Gymnasia, and they drew that match by 0-0. Now he's injured, and so he was not involved in any of those games. All right. Then the next person we have is Bashir Humphrey. He also played 2 games over the week. They won both of them. The first one, they won against Coventry by 2-0, and the second one, they won against Stoke City. They also won that one by 2-0. The one that was played on Tuesday, Humphrey played 11 minutes of that game. He had 9 touches in the game and had a pass accuracy of 100%. In fact, he attempted 6 passes and succeeded in all 6 of them. Then the one on Saturday, he played the full 90 minutes. The full 90 minutes. He had 69 touches in the game. Pass accuracy was 86%. He made 7 clearances in that game and also made 1 key pass in that game. Ground duels, he attempted 5 and succeeded in 3. Then aerial duels, he attempted 4 and succeeded in 3. All right. Then he also attempted 3 long balls and succeeded. His long balls found his teammate twice in the game. All right. Then when we go to Leo Castleden, they have not played their game yet. They will be playing their game on Wednesday, and they will be playing against Blackpool. But then Leo Castledian's team, Shrewsbury, is 23rd on the log in the relegation zone. I think that is the second to last on the log. They have 11 points from 16 games, and they have a goal difference of minus 13. So that is Castledian's team, Shrewsbury. They are fighting the relegation seriously. All right. Then the next person on the list is Georgi Petrovic. He is also at Strasbourg. As I told you earlier, their team lost against Brest by 3-1. But I can tell you one positive thing that happened in that game. Petrovic was able to save 1 penalty in that game. He also made 2 saves in that game. He played a full 90 minutes and had 70 touches in the game. Long balls, he attempted 10 and succeeded in 6. His pass accuracy in the game was 93% and had a game rating of 8.0. Right. Even though they lost the game, that was a good rating in the game. The next person on the list is Petrovic Chalobah. Now, their team drew against Newcastle by 1-1. It was played on Saturday, the 30th of November. Now, he had 62 touches in that game. He played 84 minutes, and his pass accuracy was 83%. He made 4 clearances in that game and contributed 1 key pass in that game. He also created 1 very big chance in that game. Then his ground duels, he attempted 3, succeeded in 2. Aerial duels, he attempted 8 and succeeded in 4. So that is Petrovic Chalobah, very good over there for Crystal Palace. The next person on the list is Raheem Sterling. He is at Arsenal, as we all know. They played 2 games over the week. The first one was on Tuesday, a Champions League game against Sporting, and they won that game by 5-1. Now Arsenal is on top form, and when they meet you, they hit you 5. So on Tuesday they hit Sporting 5. Then on Saturday they hit West Ham 5. 5-2. 5-star performance in the past 2 games. Now in the Champions League, he was an unused sub on the bench. Then on Saturday against West Ham, he played 16 minutes of the game, had 9 touches, and made 1 key pass when he came on. Ground duels, he attempted 3, succeeded in 0. Then he had 1 shot, 2 shots actually off target in that game. His game rating was 6.8, and his pass accuracy was 100% in that game. All right. Then we have the next person, Armando Broja. Everton lost their game against Manchester United by 4-0. Amorim ball 4-0. All right, let us see how far it will take them. But Armando Broja is out with injury, and so he didn't take part in that game. I told you the other day that Armando Broja is gradually coming out. He played an under 21 game the other day. I reported to you 45 minutes of that. And so we are hoping that very soon he will be involved in the Premier League games. All right. Then Kepa Arrizabalaga, their Bournemouth team won against Wolves by 4-2. In fact, they went away and defeated Wolves at home by 4-2. Kepa Arrizabalaga played the full 90 minutes of that game. He had one save in that game, played 15 long balls, and succeeded in 6. His game rating was 6.6, and then his pass accuracy was 72% in that game. He also had 37 touches in the game. Then, as I told you earlier, Ronnie Starter, he is at Burton, and in fact, apart from the 18 minutes that Ronnie Starter has seen in the season, he has not been involved in their games. Anytime they are playing, he's not in the match day squad. They played 2 games over the week. The first one was on Tuesday, and they lost that game against Carlton. And then the next one was on Sunday, and they actually drew that game by 1-1 against Tamworth. All right, that is Ronnie Starter. Then we go to our next on loan player, Mike Pendes, who is at Genk. Their team drew by 2-2, 2-2 against St. Trudens. And Mike Pendes again was an unused sub in the game. He was on the bench as usual. That is why I am saying that Lesley Ugochukwu has to be patient, because other players out there are suffering even more than his feet. So he has to be patient. All right. Then the next person on the list is Estevao Willian. They played, I can say, a title decider on Wednesday, and they lost to Botafogo by 3-1. So 2 games remaining in the Brazilian league. Now, in fact, the game was 1-0 until Palmeiras received a red card. Marcos Roja received a red card in the 70th minute. That red card was for violent conduct. And so from there, Botafogo had a numbers advantage and won the game by 3-1. Estevao played 81 minutes of the game. He made 52 touches, and his pass accuracy was 89%. Game rating was 7.0, but he also made 2 key passes in the game and had 1 shot on target. Ground duels, in fact, he has been doing very well over here. Ground duels, he attempted 21 and succeeded in 11. Dribble attempt, he attempted 12, and then he succeeded in 5. So that is Estevao Willian. We pray that he can win the league. 2 games remaining. It is going to be hard though. All right. Then the next person on the list is Paez. Now, their team, Independiente, also played 2 games over the week. They lost the first one against El Nacional by 1-0. Now, Kendry played 24 minutes of that game. He came on for João Ortiz in the 66th minute, and that game was a Copa Ecuador game. All right, it was a cup competition game actually. Then on Sunday also, they played a game against Orange, and they drew that game by 0-0. He played 10 minutes of that game, had 11 touches, and his pass accuracy was 90% in the game. In fact, ground duels, he didn't attempt any at all. But then he played 1 long ball and found his teammate with that long ball. All right. Then the next person on the list is Caleb Willie. Caleb Willie, I told you the other day, has been so unfortunate. The first time ever he started a game on his loan, he got injured also in that game. And so he's still out. He didn't take part in their game. They played against Brest and they lost the game by 3-1. All right. Then the last person I've been reporting on is David Dacho Fofana. They lost their game against Basak Sehe. All right. And they lost that game by 4-1. I can tell you that Didi Fofana played 20 minutes of that game, and they had 10 touches in the game. All right, his pass accuracy was 75%, and his game rating was 6.5. In fact, ground duels, he attempted 4 and succeeded in 1. Attempted 1 dribble and succeeded in that dribble. Right. So that brings us to the end of the report on the loan players and how they performed. Please, if you are new and you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. One of these days, I'm going to bring you a live telecast of a scouting mission, local football. You know how we do it, street football. I'll be bringing you a live telecast of it. So please subscribe to the channel. We'll enjoy that game together. And please hit also the notification bell and the like button for me. The like button will go a very long way in pushing this channel forward. Till I see you this evening or tomorrow morning for our preview against how do we call it, Southampton. Bye for now.